We are live. A late start and kind of a fumbled, more than a slightly fumbled opening, but nonetheless, we are here. It is Monday night. It is time for a chill stream, and I was thinking all this week, that I think up to this point, I've made it really clear that I would prefer that the audience of this channel be made up of composed of different persons, but I really don't get to choose that. So, but I've made it very clear that I'm going to do what I want to do, and if you don't like it, you can go play in traffic. So, that seems like maybe a statement of the blindly obvious, but I have taken in for quite some time all the range of opinion, which is not nearly as wide as you people think it is, and consider this from every possible angle. And I'm just completely dismissive of all you chuckleheads. I mean, you are maybe a tenth of as smart as you think, and the reason why people don't like you is you. You know what I mean? It's not that democracy is evil. It's that everyone doesn't like you because of you, right? It's because every day you wake up and you choose to be a scumbag. That's why people hate you. You know what I mean? That's why everyone's happy to see you go and no one's happy to see you run. That's the truth. People don't like to think that. They're going to come up with complicated rationalizations. How that's not, no, you don't understand. My misunderstood genius. I'm the only one that has the proper insight into understanding. You don't have fucking insight. You don't have insight into how to fucking tie your own shoes. So anyway, so I like I said, I made it as clear as I could possibly make it that I'd prefer you people just not be here. I would prefer my audience become different people. But it's going to be what it's going to be. There are things I have to accept because I can't change, and we have to go forward anyway. Last week I mentioned jury duty. I think I mentioned I got a jury duty notice. So that kind of that happened. I sorted that out in a way that resolved in my favor, and so I made a couple of videos out of the emails. So let me show you after the postcard that they send you telling you you have to like download Zoom and do all this other stuff, and attend a virtual. You had to attend like a virtual juror meeting, a juror orientation via Zoom, from home, and it was a disaster. I couldn't hear anything. And the woman had a headset on. I'm doing this with my phone. I can't hear anything. They're like, use your headphones. I'm like, I don't have, whatever the headphones were that came with this phone, I lost 2.5 years ago. But sort of nothing came out of it. I didn't think, they said, check your email every 15 minutes to see if you're going to be requested tomorrow. So I didn't call my name that morning. So I didn't think anything of it. I don't normally wake up before 8 o'clock because I usually drive until 2 or 3 in the morning, and I usually sleep about 7.5 hours. So I get home at 3 in the morning. I don't get to bed till like 4:30. I'm waking up at the crack of noon a lot of times, or just before. So anyway, I went back to sleep, woke up, and there was a jury duty notice, and this is the notice here. I made a video, quick video, 30 seconds.
Dear Manos James, you are scheduled to report to the Middlesex County Superior Court before Judge Buck on Thursday, January 5th, 2023 at 8:30 a.m. You will enter the courthouse through the jury management entrance located at 65 Bayard Street, New Brunswick, New Jersey. That's the original notice I got to show up for jury duty.
So that was the original notice. It's a pretty standard, you have to show up at the courthouse. And the reason why they did the Zoom meeting at the beginning is because they have all kinds of money, and they're pretending it's COVID rules or something like that. They're going to protect everyone from COVID. They don't want jurors dropping dead of COVID or something like that. So I don't want to do jury duty. You know what I mean? And I thought about it, and I said, I try to understand how the people who oppose me think. I try to get in their heads, get in their perspective, and when you can do that successfully, you can work them. And here was my response.
This was my response. I appreciate this notice and will inform you that I am considered a white supremacist, a right-wing extremist, and certainly will poison any jury pool I am placed in. Aside from my online free speech, which has been unconstitutionally restricted, I attended the 2017 Unite the Right rally in Charlottesville, Virginia. I suggest you forward this email to the appropriate parties.
So that's what I wrote back to them, right? And then they sent me like an intermediary. They're like, no, show up anyway. Like, you got to show up anyway, because I don't know, because everyone tries to get out of jury duty. But the fact that I welcome to my one viewer, the fact that I told them I went to Charlottesville, I'm considered an online extremist, I'm considered a white supremacist, and let people know, because whatever the trial is, it's going to be any questions directly related to me, I'm not going to hide from that. I'm not going to hide from that. And I'll be bounced by one or both of the attorneys that are involved. You know what I mean? So, and I don't want to be bothered. I'm not going to, considering how fucked everything is. For me to go to work for free, I'm going to work for because that's what the jury duty is, right? It's the Sixth and Seventh Amendment. You're going to go do your civic duty for free, in front of people who make their living off your taxes, right? And they make a very, very good living, When I used to date that Jewish chick named Susan, one of her friends' fathers was a judge. He had a house on the Jersey Shore. I wanted to have like 18-room house on the Jersey Shore in Spring Lake, which is a nice part of the Jersey Shore. It's not like Belmore, the white trash part. So I've seen how judges live, you know what I mean? And I don't live that way, you know what I mean? I live in New Jersey, but I don't have an 18-room house by the shore or anywhere. Or even so, anyway, I sent that email to them, and they sent me back this.
And this is their final response. Dear Manos James, please be advised that you have been excused from Judge Pitchford's trial. You are no longer required to report to the courthouse on Thursday, January 5th, 2022. If you are needed to serve Friday for a different trial, you may be emailed at 5:30 tomorrow evening. Thank you for your willingness to serve. Yeah, well.
So that was that. I mean, of all the shit things that ever came out of Charlottesville, I found a way some years later to make Charlottesville work for me. That's like the only good thing, is that I now realize the gift of aside from the fact that I didn't, that I didn't get arrested or killed or whatever in the massacre that they were planning that didn't come off. But aside from the fact that I got lucky there, I never have to do jury duty ever again. I will just mention, that I'm a proud supporter of the Unite the Right, and blah, 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 blah. And I will never, ever, ever be picked for jury duty anywhere on the planet Earth ever again. And the thing about this is I understand the narrative. Right? When I wrote to them, I'm considered a white supremacist. I'm not a white supremacist, but that's what people would say, and there's no point in fighting that narrative. And it isn't just what people would say. That's what the people in the courts would say about me. They would instantly believe that. Whether they would say it out loud or not is a separate issue. But they would believe that, right? And they would consider my worldview to be an extremist worldview that is morally reprehensible. They cannot justify their own, and they can hardly justify other than to be in tune with the zeitgeist, other than to be in tune with current trends. there's no justification, for them, their moral high-handedness. We all know that, right? That's people hide behind morality because they have nothing else. You know what I mean? I got somebody in the comments. I'm not looking at the comments. Virgil Doc Purple Heart, welcome to the show, sir. So Charlottesville got me out of jury duty forever, for which I am happy about that. I should have done this. I meant to smash the like button. Smash up the like button before you leave, sir, if you would, on your way out or while you're here. It only takes a moment, and I like the feedback. So I get out of jury duty like forever, and because I said I went to Charlottesville. So, and I'm thinking, to be honest, guys, you could use this as well. If you don't want to do jury duty, if you want to avoid unpleasant civic tasks, you know what I mean? They don't really know everybody who was there and who wasn't there. So, you know what I mean? I will give you, you know how like black people give you the N-word pass? I will give you the C-ville pass. I will, as a veteran of the of right-wing extremist events, federal all sorts of federal fuckery is really what it was. But I didn't know that at the time. I do know that now, but I didn't know it at the time. So you could just go ahead and say that. And you might think, well, why would you write in an email that you're a white supremacist, an extremist? Because if law enforcement ever looked at me for like 2 seconds, that's the conclusion they're going to come to, no matter what. It's going to be easy. It's going to be easy. Everyone's going to buy it, and it'll be damning, right? The fact that it's patently untrue doesn't make a difference, because the goal is not. Remember, the goal is not to reach the truth. The goal is just to win. So I basically used their worldview, their beliefs against them. Their system, you're going to come to court, you're going to work for us for free as a juror until we tell you to go home. And I basically said, fuck you, no, I'm not, right? And I didn't just ignore the jury notice, you know what I mean? Which I could have done. I had some people do that. I don't know if you ignore a jury notice, I don't know what happens to you. I don't know if there's criminal charges or not. I think most people can just ignore it, but I deliberately wanted to fight with them. I wanted them to do what I want. I wanted to bend them to my will, and that's what I did. So I played the Charlottesville card. That's what I did. I know how they think and what they believe, and I used that to get them to do what they would not normally do. So I consider that a win for me. What else is going on? Oh, what did I do today? Today I actually went to the gun range. I went shooting for the first time since before COVID. So I have not been to the range in like fucking 2 years. And I did not do nearly as good as I thought I was going to do. I've been doing dry fire practice and stuff here, but my grip was fucking terrible. My stance was not awful, but my grip was fucking absolutely terrible. Fucking front sight like wiggling. I'm like, what the fuck? I thought I had good grip. Good grip in dry fire is not the same as live fire. I had not. You need to. I figured out kind of near the end of the session what I was doing wrong, and kind of got a little, kind of got some improvement. But to be honest, even just being in the range, indoor range, just hearing the sound of gunfire, and I was like jumpy, like the first time I was ever there. I'm thinking to myself, fuck, man, you're not really a newbie. Like, you're not a fucking noob. But once you're out of that environment, you're not accustomed to processing that kind of stimulus all the time. It takes a while to get back in the groove. So a little bit the gunfire made me a little anxious, and some bad habits I had developed in dry fire practice here, need to be corrected. There needs to be corrective, remedial actions taken sometime soon, but not if the COVID thing's over. I should go shoot more often because one, I like it. Two, it's one of those things when you need to do it, you really, really need to do it. So, all right, I think I've covered pretty much everything. So tonight I got a video for you that I want to. That when I saw it, I particularly liked it, but it kind of reminds me. People talk about the world you were born into no longer exists, or America doesn't exist anymore. America transitioned. They're tearing down the statues of Robert E. Lee, Civil War heroes, and putting up George Floyd and I don't know some other crackhead rapist. Um, so, and I think about what was the America that is no longer with us, and the the men who fought to make that to keep that from falling into the hands of the communists. Now you could say, well, you know what? They should have shot dudes in Washington D.C. and New York City, but that's not how shit works. You know what I mean? Shit works by uh, people following orders, um, foreign adventures, foreign wars. The domestic threat in the oath of protect and defend the Constitution against all enemies, foreign and domestic. They never get to the domestic part. They stop at the foreign part. You know what I mean? They run out of money or they run out of bodies by the time they get to the end of the foreign part. There are never apparently any domestic enemies, even though now the culture and the economy is being destroyed, right? And all the rest. So anyway, basically, we're going to take a walk to a place called Outpost Harry, which was a hilltop in it's about 60 miles north of Seoul, South Korea. This clip is 9 minutes and 40 seconds. So I'll give you a moment to like set up for this, whatever, get your popcorn ready, or to get a drink. This is not newsreel footage. This is just straight interview footage with the man who served it. So Outpost Harry, an almost unknown battle in the Korean War, which is oftentimes called the Forgotten War. And to give you an idea, when I say like all these extreme right-wing online fucking people, like they should be bashed in the head with a fucking metal bike lock, to me, and it's not just to me, I can prove factually, I can prove logically that these people are the same as fucking Antifa. Their goal is the same as Antifa. When I say that it's right and normal for people to hunt you and beat you in the streets, I'm not joking. There's no such thing as the right wing, and there has been. Okay, there are various different people who oppose the communists in ways that are not effective, but there is no right wing. That's a delusional a concept that only exists in the mind of people destined, to fuck shit up. So there are no right wingers. You're not a right winger. You may hate communists. You may be opposed to central banking. If you were smart, understanding that communism was funded by central banking, and so if you're attacking the pawns, you're not attacking the major pieces. Anyway, at this point, I've done enough. I did enough preamble. You should be ready. So yeah, this is a bit dark, more than a little bit dark, but walk with me.
Our positions were overrun by a superior number of forces. By the time the artillery stopped, we raised our heads to see what was going on. They were in the trenches and were on top of us.
We had, before the Chinese got there, we'd been subjected to artillery fire for well over an hour. And it intensified, and then the Chinese were coming. And it, I think, was around 2 o'clock in the morning when they finally breached the trenches and got in.
We weren't expecting that they'd ever get in the trenches because I had defensive fire, just kind of a wall of steel clear around our position.
Lieutenant Brown, he was in a bunker, a heavy bunker, and he says, Davis, you hold this hill with all cost, if that means your life.
They just kept coming. They just walked over their dead and right into the trench, right into the trenches. That's when the hand-to-hand comebacks occurred. You say, well, a lot of guys are leaving this earth tonight.
I thought that I was going to die. Be brave. Don't be a coward. Whatever's going to happen, be brave. Do your job. Don't be afraid. And that was going through my mind. Don't be afraid. And I was praying.
While I was going up that hill, I always saying Psalm the 23rd. I always say that, the Lord is my shepherd, I shall not want.
It was like a slaughterhouse where there's exposed bone parts and body parts spread all over the top of the hill. You couldn't walk without walking on them.
When we learned that the Chinese were in the trenches and that we needed to do something drastic, we had artillery called in on ourselves.
We used to laugh about that, you know, if everything goes to pieces on you, you could always call in fire on yourself, get it over with. And but I thought privately, could I do that? Could I call in fire on my own position and my own men? But, you know, I made that decision without even thinking twice.
And I could see the Chinese jumping across. About that time, a Chinaman crawled right above my head, and I saw him come over. And I was kneeling and having my carbine in my hand. I shoved the bayonet up, caught him in the neck, whipped right through his head. I flipped him over, pulled my bayonet out.
The trenches were filled up with American and Chinese soldiers. Some of them are still alive, hollering for help, and but we had to walk over them and keep going to clear the hill out.
That's the kind of warfare that an infantryman goes through, and it's hard to describe. Those things you never forget, and that's what makes the difference between an infantry battle and any other kind. And Harry, I think, was the essence of being an infantryman.
He was killed, Sergeant Hanna. He was killed at the bottom of the hill. A damn good soldier he was. A nice person. It shouldn't have ever happened to him. He was shot in the head. He was shot in the head. I still see that every day I see that. I was right behind him when he was shot. And we put a blanket over him. We took a rifle with a bayonet, stuck it behind him, put his helmet on it. And that's how we left him when we went off the hill. A blanket, a rifle, and a helmet.
This is your job. You're a soldier. And God will forgive you no matter what you do up on the hill. Infantrymen have already spent their time in hell. When they die, they go straight to heaven.
The Chinese were coming down the trench to where our outpost bunker was, our command post. And from there inside, we were firing out the door to keep them out.
They threw a grenade in, and I could hear it sizzling, but I, you know, so much junk on the floor, but then there's no way you could ever kick it back out. And when it went off, Richards and Markley dropped.
One of the concussion grenades knocked me out, and I was unconscious for quite a while.
Then they threw another grenade in, and this one knocked me down, and I fell partly on Markley, and of course he was unconscious, and Richards was unconscious, and a flashlight came through the door, and he looked Richards over, and then he looked Markley over, and I thought I'd play dead, so I took this bloody hand and wiped over my face, and but then before he got to me, I was shaking like a leaf. I was so scared that I couldn't help but shake, And I thought, well, what am I going to do? You know, because he'll know I'm still alive. About that time, well, Rich started coming to, and they were talking to one another. You know, the wounded was talking to the guard, and so he got up and went over with his flashlight and looked at Rich and shot him. And pretty soon Markley started kind of moving around.
My throat was clogged up, and I tried to clear it, which caused me to make a little noise.
He started coughing, and so they came over and they rolled me kind of away from him a little ways and looked me all over. It just felt like that flashlight was burning my face. I didn't think I'd ever make it, and I didn't know, you know, how I'd ever get out of it.
I felt that I was with a group that would take care of me, and I'm going to take care of them, and we would fight for each other.
And then we heard this roar and big cloud of dust, and here come a convoy driving across there. And it was the Greeks arriving at Outpost Terry. And when the truck pulled up nearest me, there was a man standing up against a cab playing a musical instrument, something like a concertina, I would call it. And the men were singing, they were all jovial. And I thought, yeah, that's the way to run an army. I said, I like these guys.
The Greeks built a fire down along on the front lines there, and they were singing and making all kinds of noise, and they do that to try to entice the Chinese to kind of come down and see what's going on, you know. Well, then they would have their ambush patrol out, and they would capture them or take care of them, you know. And I thought that was pretty clever. The Greeks were darn good soldiers. We loved them.
And we all got to love them very much because they were fierce fighters. They, I don't think, ever retreated.
I can remember looking out the trench door, and this one Greek, there's two Chinks come in on him with just both bayonets. They both had bayonets on their rifles. But I tell you, friend, I was scared to death. And he just exploded, knocked the rifles out of their hands, and grabbed the little old guys by the necks and punched their heads together, and they were still the rest of the time then.
What I remember about them is they had no fear. They were the best bayonet people in the world, and after every time the bayonets were used, they would clean them, take all the blood off. And it was amazing, because nobody else ever did that.
I was really impressed with their attitude. They were all brave men. One of the nights there, one of the soldiers was slightly wounded in a small firefight, and the Greeks had a great celebration for him.
They were just happy-go-lucky. They were not really concerned. They were the toughest people I've seen.
When the Chinese attacked them, they would fix bayonets and meet them halfway down the hill. Consequently, it became known that whenever the Chinese were certain they were on line, they tended to avoid them. I wish we'd have had more of them on Outpost Harry. Maybe they would have avoided us.
I think you can see that whole film on YouTube. But that 9-minute, 40-second clip takes you to a whole different place. And those guys are Korean War veterans. And my father was a World War II veteran. So that's kind of similar, like, you know, of an era. And when I hear these first-person accounts like this, some guys who were in a fucking meat grinder, and those guys were in a meat grinder. Outpost Harry supposedly had 88,000 artillery shells landed on that fucking thing. 88,000 artillery shells. It's unfucking thinkable. That these guys, that those men could still talk about it even 50 years later. You could see some of them were still, one guy was still in tears over the death of his sergeant that had happened 50 years earlier. You know, I think about those guys, the America that they fought for, the America that they believed in. And you could say, well, you know, central banking, this and that, the Federal Reserve. Yeah, that's all true. None of that changes. But those guys were the guys who were willing to defend America under any circumstances. And at Outpost Harry, by the way, there were only five United Nations combat units, whatever they called them. 4 were American, and 1 was the Greeks. So so that was a unique thing. But they got the Greek soldiers got their reputation for being absolutely fucking murderous to the Chinese. You know what I mean? They were super anti-communist because they just had the war with the communists in 1947. Even though America caused that war. Again, these guys don't do geopolitics. They don't do intellectual dissections of shit. They go and do jobs that are so fucking nightmarish that when I hear these people online cry because somebody called you fucking fed, I'm not kidding when I fucking tell you I would throw you off a building. I would fucking throw you off a fucking building in the blink of a fucking eye. Your only use, if you cry about being, he called me a fed. Listen to me. Your only fucking use is your body goes in the fucking ground and is fertilizer for fucking next year's crops. Or we throw you in the fucking ocean so you sleep with the fucking fishes. That's your only fucking use. You people, whatever those people are, I don't identify with them. I identify, again, because my dad was a World War II guy, and it's kind of similar to Korean War guys. I identify with those guys. Really strongly identify with those guys. And I understand their lives were wasted, and I get that, like, communist Jews in America were afraid that communist Chinese would succeed too much or something on the other side of the world, and the communist Chinese would take over the communist Jews, or what. I don't know what their fear was, right? But they're going to throw all sorts of military resources, all sorts of men and material to the other side of the planet to fight an enemy that was growing stronger and stronger every day here in America. You know what I mean? Same philosophy, but hidden in America. While these guys literally turned into fucking pink mist and body parts on a frozen fucking hilltop in South Korea. You know. So, like I said, I empathize with them. I sympathize with those guys. I do not sympathize with anyone who cries. I mean, the level of fucking crybaby cocksuckers that are around, I can't stand that. There's been quite some time that I've like bit my tongue, and but that's not happening anymore. I said as soon as I started this show this week, I've told everybody, go away and don't come back, and the subscriber numbers are not going down. So whatever, strap in and don't complain, because I'm not listening to any complaints. Literally not listening to one fucking complaint. I've made it as clear as I can that what I'm going to do with this channel is what I want to do with this channel. And I'm going to smash whoever the fuck I want to smash and shit on every motherfucker that deserves to be shit on. Verbally, because that's really all I can do right now. But there was the sports ball guy I talk about on occasion. I was DMing him on what the fuck on Facebook, because I'm not on Twitter anymore. But this guy's on Facebook, so we're going back and forth about like Spencer in Charlottesville, and I mentioned the jury duty thing, and I told him, I said, yeah, I told everybody I was in Charlottesville and I got out of jury duty. And he goes, well, it worked. You know what I mean? This guy, like, he's, like I said, his best friend's some black kid from whatever, 10 years old, he said, well, it worked. You got out of jury duty. That's the important part. But I started going into, I was like, listen, the reason why I started doing social media the way I do it is because I thought of James Fields going to prison for 400 years, and how many more kids are going to be caught up like this. And I just saw the answer is very few. It's like really, really very, very, very few. Most kids are watching video games, are watching porn or some stupid shit. It's very tough for them to get another domestic terrorist. The Daily News yesterday, the Sunday News, some 19-year-old kid from Maine came down to New York City, started camping in a park in Queens, and I think I don't know, not Bayside or not Bayside, somewhere else in Queens. It's like Corona, Queens, probably. So he was supposedly a successful, normal kid who was happy, whose family loved him, and he was athletic or whatever. And he bought like a big fucking knife, a big L-shaped knife called a kukri or something like that. It's like an Arabic looking or Indian looking sword. And he decided he was going to kill New York City police officers. So he goes to Times Square with this giant fucking knife, shouts Allah Akbar, and tries to kill a cop. He has no idea what the fuck he's doing. He did not kill the cop. I think he injured the cop, and they shot him. I don't know if he lived. I didn't read the story. I just scanned it real quick. But he just like the whole let's turn America's teenagers into terrorists so we can burn the Constitution, like the feds, are working daily, 24/7, 365 in 10 different directions, all across social media, to turn these fucking goofball kids into terrorists, and that's going to be the excuse to burn the Constitution. That the failure, of course, is that the kid decides he wants to be a Muslim and he wants to do Allah Akbar. You know what I mean? And that was the 2000s narrative. We have a new narrative today. There has to be a domestic threat at home, and no one believes it's Muslims, so it has to be Christian nationalists, and Christian nationalists do not shout Allah Akbar. So this kid did, sort of, kind of what they wanted, but he only got the front page of the Daily News. He didn't get the other papers. The other papers, pretty much ignored the story. So I look at, I realized that me doing this sort of stuff, and now how many years I've been doing it, whatever delusions I had that I was going to fucking save some disaffected youth by being like a fucking sarcastic Joey Bag of Donuts guy on social media to bring these feds and these shills down to the level of mockery. Like that's done. That's all. That's complete. That's as over can be. The reality is, if you're not fighting central banking, you're not fighting. You know what I mean? And if you don't want to fight, just go promote Drag Queen Story Hour. You know what I mean? It's pretty. If what you primarily want to do in life is improve your material circumstance, just put the rainbow flag everywhere. Go out there, show up to these meetings, tell everybody how fucking great they are, and carry water for these people, and you will find things go your way. We got a comment. Let me go look in the comments. Federico Vasconcelos, make money, not love. Yes. Okay, you could do that. But you know what? In the transactional 21st century, Francesco, it is the two are interchangeable. We're certainly in a time where no fucking leftist at this point, when you confront them and say, hey, listen, your whatever leftist liberal fucking nonsense ends up with mentally ill transvestites alone with small children, right? That's where it ends up. That is where it has ended up. Pedophiles and degenerates alone with children, and this is publicly sanctioned. This is not publicly sanctioned by anyone, with 2 living brain cells. But that's the end of this. So there's no support for any of that stuff. But like I'm saying, if you want to make money, you just go carry water for them and polish it. Lick their boots, carry water for them, and you will. That's the fastest way, and probably the most reliable way to greater material wealth. And most people, if they just have more material wealth, the world fixes itself magically. Like almost everybody watching is like, listen, if you woke up tomorrow morning and there were 2 suitcases full of $100 bills at the foot of your bed, the world would be a much better place instantly. Like this, you know what I mean? And now that's never going to happen, but that's a truer statement than you care to admit, right? When what's his name, Baron Rothschild said, "Give me control of a nation's money, and I care not who makes its laws." That is a truth so clear and brutal that that most people can't engage with because you just can't deal with things. You cannot deal with things in any sort of direct fashion, right? Most people have various different coping strategies when they're overwhelmed. And for a lot of people who think they're fucking smart, their coping strategy is to make up layers and layers of super complicated bullshit to explain really simple shit. And I am done as I can be with all fucking credentials and what fucking school you went to, and I'm fucking done with you. I am done with you, and I will shit on you and your fucking ideas from now till the end of fucking time. If you come across me, like I realize this, like I said, this is a channel with 60 fucking subscribers, and it should be like 30 subscribers. I'm gonna fucking wreck you. I'm gonna make you fucking kill yourself. Like literally, I'm gonna make you go into your kitchen, turn the gas on the oven, stick your fucking head in, kill yourself. That's my goal. You know what I mean? That and making a vein explode in Abe Foxman's head so he dies of an aneurysm. Those are my goals in life. Can I achieve that through YouTube? I'm not so sure. You know what I mean? But I will try. I will be. I will give it my best effort. You know what I mean? I will 100% give it my best effort. But like I've said earlier, I made it as clear as it could possibly be. Most of you don't belong here. Almost none of you deserve to be here. And you're not wanted here. So you can leave, and I suggest you do so. You're not going to do it because for whatever reason. But this is going to continue going in the way that I think it should go, and not in a way that conforms to any fucking ideas any of you people had. The ideas that you favor, the ideas that you promulgate are total shit for a dozen fucking reasons. You probably haven't fucking done anything more difficult than open the fucking refrigerator door in your entire lives. And you delusional fuckwits think you're gonna fucking dictate to people. You know what I mean? You aren't gonna dictate to anyone. You know what I mean? You're gonna be stacked like fucking, your body's gonna be stacked like firewood. You know what I mean? By whoever actually does it. You know what I mean? It may not be me, because we're probably decades away from that. Unfortunately for me, because I will be really fucking old. That should happen. It's not a little bit old. I'll be fucking very old. If it happens, it may not happen. So I'm tired of I had zero toleration for the stupid motherfuckers who literally want to burn the Constitution because they think somehow, White Wakanda will magically spring up from the ashes. That isn't how it works. It's not how it's ever worked. And like I said, anything I can do to make you suicide yourself, I will fucking do. Anything I can say to make you suicide yourself, I will fucking do. Not kidding. I'm not kidding. I'm not joking. Right? There's an enormous number of people here I wish to repel, but they don't seem to want to be. They don't seem to want to go away, which probably says more about them than it says about me. Anyway, with that, coming up on 45 minutes. I noticed, by the way, and what's his name? I got 3 viewers, but the stream snipers, let's see if we can get this channel fucking destroyed. I could actually just blow up this entire channel because we're just talking about the stream snipers. The stream snipers, the feds, Norvin the cripple, Ovi the pedophile, and Bateman the sperm sucker. People. When I mentioned it, you don't examine your what you believe. People believe that Norvin Hobbs was got doxxed. He got doxxed by Antifa somehow. These fucking nose ring people who run around with airsoft guns in front of Drag Queen Story Hour have super computer skills, and they doxxed Norvin, and he had to move to somewhere else. Instead of which you buy into that exotic bullshit story. The truth is, the FBI came to visit him and offered him a commissioned salesman job. We'll get you a new apartment, internet access, blah 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 blah. Here's the story. You go ahead and you stream with OV, and you stream with Bateman and Ustream with Claire Carr and all the rest of them, right? That's what really happened. But you think, oh no, Antifa attacked, Antifa never attacked, right? That didn't happen. That is as fake as the Richard Spencer video, okay? But you don't stop and think that. You don't go, hey, wait a minute. That thing was wrong. How many other things were wrong? If this was a setup, how many other things were a setup? You can't reason your way through this because you're not nearly as smart as you think you are. And you lack the knowledge base and the experience base to cut through the bullshit. And part of the reason why I tell people to leave this fucking channel is because I do have more experience than the average guy, and my logic skills are strong enough that I can drive to the fucking point, and I will watch that video, whatever that video is, 1,000 times, or I'll listen to the story you tell me, the bullshit story you tell me. I'll listen to it once, and then I'll replay it in my head, and replay it in my head, and replay it in my head, like watching a video over and over until I go, hey, wait a minute, why do I believe that happened? What is it about this person that convinced me that they're being truthful? What is it about this online personality that convinced me that they're an honest broker of anything, right? You never stop and question that at all. Once someone says one thing that's true, Jewish power, elite power is Jewish and malevolent to every culture around the world. Okay, that's true. When people hear that and they go, well, he said one thing that's true, and then they relax and they think they don't think critically. They uncritically accept everything the person says after. It's kind of it's like an infinity scan. They say one thing that you know is true, or two things that you know are true, and you go, well, he's right about that, and then you just fucking relax, and then they get the fucking hook in your fucking nose and they drag you wherever they want to drag you. So like I said, for somebody like Norman Hobbs, this was before Antifa was attacking everybody, but Antifa did attack people, and it all kind of blurs together into one thing, right? But you don't stop and think, and for those of you going, oh, I just do it for the lols. I just tune into their shit for the lols. Trust me, the FBI or whoever's monitoring this, fucking Pentagon, NSA, what the fuck, alphabet fucking agency, they have the Mac ID, the machine ID that you watch from. They know when you logged on. They trust me. There is zero privacy. I don't care if you're using a VPN. I don't care what you're using. There's no privacy. They know you've consumed this content, okay? And in the future, when they actually do burn the Constitution and there's no longer a Sixth Amendment or Seventh Amendment, the Sixth Amendment is right to a speedy trial. Seventh Amendment is right to trial by jury. When they go direct to the authoritarian half-day trial, like they like to do in Beijing, they're going to bring up how many hours you consume this content. You know what I mean? And then and they're going to paint you in whatever way they want to paint you. That's assuming you even ever have that importance. You don't really have that importance. But the fact that you're not you think, oh, I'm hiding in the dark. I'm hiding behind the internet and no one can see me. Well, no one may be able to see your actual face, right? But trust me, anybody who wants to know who you are can find out who you are in 2 fucking seconds. 2 fucking seconds. So, and there's no way you can continuously be around this sort of delusional propaganda and not absorb it, right? In the same way that a white kid growing up in the ghetto imitates the black dudes, the black kids, and the black people that he's around, right? He grows up around them. He absorbs their culture. He's one, they're 100, right? He's around that all the time. He hears how they talk, right? And he imitates how they talk because he just wants to fit in, right? That's human nature. So you hear this fucking content around and again, and you hear it again and again and again. It sticks in your head, and it starts to work you. And they know this. You know what I mean? They have an endless budget of fucking money and an endless number of fucking drug addicts and pedophiles to fucking put on the internet. You know what I mean? In probably in 100 different guises. OV and whatever these other fucking Bateman are like two of probably like 1,000 people that they have doing different versions of this, slightly different flavor of this or that. And that you consume any of this content, any content you consume you need to be more thoughtful about it, you know what I mean? But you aren't, okay? I understand you're not entirely happy, but guess what? You didn't have to serve at fucking Outpost Harry. So, you know what I mean? Your unhappiness really very minor relative to what other people have suffered. And I mean really suffered. And those guys, like I said, I identify with them. I empathize with them, not with you. I mean, I really do not empathize with you, like, at all. So when you to try and give you a fuller understanding of why you're hated, and you're hated because of you, right? You aren't hated because you're a misunderstood genius. You're not a misunderstood genius, right? You have no profound fucking insights. You're a fucking retard who fucking memorized a couple of Nietzsche quotes. You know what I mean? And you fucking break your own arm, pat yourself in the fucking back. I don't know where you belong. Like I said, probably somewhere underground, or with Luca Brasi. That would be the best use of you. But we're not going to get right. We aren't going to get that. Not today. We're not going to get that. But yeah, you need to really consider the company you keep. Really, really, and the company you keep, meaning this online virtual thing. What you consume, what media you consume, and how you bullshit yourself. Like, oh, I don't really believe all that shit. Yeah, you do, because you listen to it for 4 fucking hours. Yeah, you do. You know what I mean? You believe it enough to listen for 4 fucking hours. So, you can, like I said, you can do whatever sort of coping strategy you want to try and bullshit yourself that you're not completely at the mercy of these people and the narratives they spin, but you are completely at the mercy of these people and the narratives they spin. And if you think, well, you're basically a lucky person, once the Constitution goes up in flames, things will just somehow work out for you. Well, maybe you're right. Maybe you are that lucky. I doubt you are, but who knows? Maybe you were just born lucky, and a situation of chaos and violence, you think, oh, you'll just come out, fucking on the other side without a scratch. I think you're wrong about that, but you run with that. You run with that as you work, and you cheer for the fucking for the Constitution burners. You know what I mean? As you, oh boy, I hope they fucking succeed. You're gonna have a very, very unpleasant surprise on the other end. Anyway, where are we at? 54 minutes. 54 minutes, 49, 50 seconds, 54 minutes. 3 viewers, the stream snipers, which I have, I'm developing a special name for them. I may decide to really get, peaked and annoyed and go off on them. But it's probably not even worth the effort. Anyway, all right, what time is it? It's 11 o'clock on the East Coast. I have to work tomorrow. Well, I wanted to finish anyway. So hey, like a 4th viewer, somebody just came back. One of the feds just fucking came back, probably because somebody heard, they're like, drop back in again. I think he's talking about you. That's fucking such pathetic fucking welfare cases. All right, enough's enough. We covered everything we need to cover, but yeah, next week, I'm doing good with this video stuff. There's a bunch of interesting video things I can do. Clips I can put in and take out. But I give you this week as a gift, starting 2023, the Charlottesville pass. When you get that jury duty notice, you just tell them you went to Charlottesville. They have no way of knowing whether you went or you didn't go, and you can get out of jury. That's my tip of the week. That's my tip of the week for you guys. So anyway, Virgil Doc, Purple Heart, Federico Vasconcelos. Thanks for showing up to everyone who's going to watch in the reruns in tomorrow and during the week. Make sure to smash up that like button. Thanks for stopping by. And you know what? I will talk to you next week. Night, guys.